Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. Before I start, I'd like to thank our fans around the world for their support, our suppliers for their help over the past few years, as well as our friends at YouTube and Facebook for helping us live stream this keynote. I believe that we also have lots of new friends with us today. We're super excited to have you here, and it's a big day for all of us at OnePlus. We started OnePlus 3 years ago for a simple reason: to build an Android phone that we ourselves want to use. Back then, companies focused on creating useless features just to stand out, even if they didn't benefit the user. People paid little attention to the details. Phones had lines that weren't straight and gaps where parts didn't align. How you got your phone also didn't make a lot of sense. People's contracts determined how and when they bought a phone, as opposed to having the freedom to get it when they wanted to. So our mission wasn't just to build a better smartphone, but also improve the way our industry worked. To succeed, we had to get a couple of things right. First, we had to design products based on a deep understanding of our users and their needs. It also meant refining every last detail, down to the smallest elements, often iterating at 0.01 millimeters at a time. Finally, we cut out the middlemen and sold our products directly to our users. And that was the inspiration behind our tagline, "Never Settle." We knew that there were people out there who felt the same way we did, but we had no clue our ideas would resonate with so many. The OnePlus One was our first big statement, and the initial response was overwhelming. We could barely keep up. And even though it was our first product, the OnePlus One sold over 1.5 million units. This is very rare for any first product from a new company. People weren't just customers, they became a part of OnePlus. Soon after we launched, our community started growing really quickly. Being greeted by hundreds of excited fans at our offline events is always an emotional and rewarding experience. We know we're incredibly lucky to have so many supporters around the world who believe in us. There's not many brands that do, and we don't take this for granted. Following the OnePlus One, we created the OnePlus 2 and the OnePlus X, both products that received a lot of attention from all over the world. Next up were the OnePlus 3 and the 3T. We learned from the past, kept refining the product while keeping a close eye on feedback. The OnePlus 3T received an insane amount of awards and recognition, and was also our best product when it came to customer satisfaction. Consumers today are smarter than ever. Through a recent study, we learned that people are most likely to hear about OnePlus from family or friends. The world's best marketing campaign can no longer guarantee the success of a product nor beat genuine word of mouth. So we also have to make the best products for selfish reasons, because a great product speaks for itself. Recently, I've been reading a lot of feedback online. There are so many good phones out there on the market, yet I'm seeing that a lot of people are holding out for our next flagship before deciding on which phone to get. This is exciting to see, but it also puts a lot of pressure on us. Could have never dreamt of this day to happen. We started OnePlus for ourselves, but as the amount of people who believed in us grew, so did the expectations. Today, some compare us with the best companies in our industry, giving us big shoes to fill. What we're doing isn't just for ourselves anymore. Our mission has now become our responsibility. We have to keep making great products and cannot let all of those who believe in us down. So thanks again for joining us on the most important day in our history. I know a lot of OnePlus fans and our team members around the world have been waiting for this day, and that a lot of you are watching right now. With every year and every iteration, we've improved. Everything we've learned and accumulated throughout the ups and downs of the last few years has led to this moment. I'm humbled to present our 5th flagship smartphone, our most complete and competitive product ever. 1,281 days in the making, this is the OnePlus 5. There's a famous quote saying, "A cynic is someone who knows the price of everything, but the value of nothing." With smartphones, a cynic is someone who believes that a great product are just about its specs. We believe it's one of the least interesting parts of a product. So I'll give them to you all right now, just to get it over with. you came just for the specs, you can leave now. For those of you who came for the right reasons, time to focus on what matters. Hey, Una, what are you doing here? What have you got there? Thanks, Una. So what do you think? If specs aren't important, then what is? Great chefs don't just throw together every ingredient in the kitchen. Instead, they bring together ingredients that complement each other to create something truly special. We think that there are 6 main ingredients to focus on when it comes to creating the best smartphone. And that's what we're here to talk about today. The first thing people notice with any product is design. And design is all in the details. It's not uncommon for us to create a whole new prototype just to move a button by a fraction of a millimeter. A smartphone is made up of thousands of elements, and our work isn't done until nothing feels out of place. If you can't force yourself to revise until everything feels perfect, then how can you be sure that you made the best product? It took us over 100 physical iterations to reach a design that was both functionally slim and visually stunning. To tell the story, I'd like to welcome Diego, a designer at OnePlus who has been with us from the start. Hey, Diego.
Hi, Carl. Hey, everyone. I'm excited to tell you more about the design of the OnePlus 5. It's no secret that most of us spend a lot of time with our smartphones. Once you start using your OnePlus 5, it becomes so much more than just a collection of parts. It's what you use to capture moments, share memories, and keep in touch with the people you care about the most. With every new phone we build, we implement certain hallmarks of OnePlus design. One of these is a continuous hard edge. We drew inspiration from luxury car design, which uses powerful lines to accentuate strength and agility. In the OnePlus 5, this line gives the device a visually sleek appearance. We call it the horizon line. In the same way, the horizon separates the Earth from the sky. This edge divides the phone's body, casting one half in light and another in shadow. So, what we will be looking at when you first pick up your OnePlus 5, you will immediately notice how slim it is. At 7.25mm, the OnePlus 5 is the slimmest OnePlus flagship ever. Another feature that stands out is the alert slider on the left, which allows you to control how and when you are alerted right from your pocket using 3 notification profiles. Right below, you've got your volume rocker, the power buttons on the right, as is the SIM tray. On the front, you will find a 16-megapixel camera for crystal clear selfies and live streaming. If you look closely, you might also notice the speaker grill right here on the front. The fingerprint scanner unlocks your phone in just 0.2 seconds. On the bottom, you will notice that we ditched the 3.5mm headphone jack. The elegance of the overall design is instantly heightened. And who needs a headphone jack anyway? That's why Bluetooth exists, right? Just kidding. Of course, the OnePlus 5 had a headphone jack. Right here on the bottom, just look what you guys had to say. The USB Type-C connector is right here next to the headphone jack. All of the buttons and ports on the OnePlus 5 have been chamfered to fit in perfectly with the overall design. We even pay extra attention to parts you might never see, like matching the inside of the ports with the color of the device body. Let's move on to the back of the device. Every part of the phone has to be precisely crafted to fit into the all-metal unibody. One example is the new crescent-shaped antenna, which you'll find right here. It's integrated in the edges of the device to ensure it's barely noticeable against the curvature. And finally, we've added the new dual camera hub to the top left of the OnePlus 5. These are just some of the design stories. We don't expect you to notice all of the small details right away, but what makes the OnePlus 5 great is that we work hard to make sure every aspect contributes to a sleek and visually powerful design. We hope you will feel the thought and care that has gone into as you use your OnePlus 5. Before I hand the mic back to Carl, I'd just like to show off the two color options of the OnePlus 5 available at launch: Midnight Black and Slate Gray. Both colors are subdued in their elegance and were created with the same passion as the rest of the design. Every detail matters. Back to you, Carl.
Thanks, Diego. Let's take a selfie.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
That brings us straight to the second area we want to focus on today, the camera. The smartphone camera is the most widely used type of camera today. And for smartphone users, it's one of the most important features. For the OnePlus 5, we really doubled down on the camera with the focus on clarity. Over the past few years, smartphone cameras have been catching up with DSLRs at an astonishing speed, but we've almost reached the limit of what we can do. It's simply due to physical space. Professional cameras have sensors that are up to 50 times larger than what's found in a typical smartphone. Think of a lens as a window. The wider the lens, the more light can flow to the sensor. In turn, a larger sensor can capture more light, which improves image quality in low light conditions. Here, look at this example of a photo taken in low light with a DSLR versus a smartphone. See how the first photo is much more clear than the second one? A wide aperture also allows professional cameras to render a shallow depth of field effect, known as bokeh. This is really great for portraits. But if we were to fit the specs of a DSLR camera on the back of a smartphone, it would look a little like this. We had to look for another solution to bridge the remaining gap between smartphones and professional cameras. And our answer was implementing a dual camera on the OnePlus 5. We didn't just improve the main sensor, we also added a second one. By adding a telephoto lens to our camera, the OnePlus 5 can accurately determine the distance between the sensor and objects in the environment. This opens up a range of new photography options. But first, let's take a closer look at the hardware behind our new dual camera. Picking the right sensor is about more than just getting the latest one. Our goal was to make sure the OnePlus 5 dual camera finished first in the race for clarity. But none of the sensors found on the shelves matched our ambitions. So we teamed up with Sony to create a tailor-made solution, the IMX398, a 16 megapixel sensor. Then we added a 20 megapixel sensor with a telephoto lens next to it. They're the highest resolution dual camera system on a smartphone, letting you take extremely clear photos. Inside of the sensor, we've got something pretty special. It's fast AF. Basically, it works a lot like your eyes. Your brain needs two overlapping fields of vision in order to focus on something. If you cover one eye, it's a lot harder to focus because you can't calculate depth as well. With fast AF, we're using both eyes of our main lens. This allows it to more accurately calculate depth, speeding up autofocus by up to 40%. Like we mentioned, a large aperture is key to taking clear low-light shots. The OnePlus 5's main lens has an aperture of f1.7, one of the largest on a smartphone, which allows the camera to capture a lot of light. A larger aperture also allows for faster snaps and helps compensate for stuttering to improve image stabilization. If the lenses and sensors are the eyes of our camera, our smart capture software is the brain, improving the clarity of your photos quietly in the background. Let's look at a photo taken at night. It looks a little noisy, don't you think? Whenever you take a photo with a lot of noise, the OnePlus 5 will automatically clear up noise by comparing different frames of the same photo and filtering out inconsistencies. Just look at the photo once the noise is removed. Next up is the zoom. Zooming in digitally with a smartphone is nothing more than stretching pixels, which leads to a loss in quality. Smart Capture combines optical zoom with multi-frame technology to let you zoom in with greater clarity. Just look at the difference. Have you ever taken a shot of a friend in front of a window, only to end up with a black silhouette? We wanted to minimize the negative effects backlighting has on your pictures. The OnePlus 5's improved high dynamic range algorithm allows it to automatically adjust the photo to keep things clear in scenarios with backlighting, instead of casting some objects in the shadow. You're gonna use your camera to take all sorts of photos, like of friends and family, amazing landscapes, or that mustard grilled double-double with animal-style fries you had yesterday. Different scenarios require different optimizations. So we created a database using over 1,000 different photos to teach the Smart Capture chip how to optimize your shots. The OnePlus 5 can recognize the type of photo you're taking and automatically set the ideal exposure, white balance, and focus. Now, we talked about the hardware and the software. Next up are the features. We invited our friend, Emily Radakowski, to help break it down.
Hi guys, Emily here. I'd like to take a couple minutes to talk about the OnePlus 5's dual camera and how it ups my Instagram game. To show you what I mean, I'm gonna take 6 Instagram shots in 20 seconds. Ready? You might be wondering what just happened. Let me explain. In this first shot, I used the new portrait mode. The OnePlus 5 has 2 camera sensors that work together to create a focal separation between faces and backgrounds. Like this. When you shoot a portrait, you want the focus to be on the person you're capturing and nothing else. Separating the background from a face enables the OnePlus 5 to apply a professional-looking depth of field, or bokeh, effect you'd normally need a DSLR for. A custom software algorithm adds a finishing touch to make sure your subject is clear and well lit. I love taking nighttime photos, but hate it when they look grainy or blurry. The secret to a sharp and clear low-light photo is getting enough light to the camera's sensor. The bigger the aperture, the more light a camera can capture. So it's a good thing the OnePlus 5 packs a large f1.7 aperture, because remember, when thinking about aperture, the smaller the number, the bigger the aperture. Check this one out. When paired with the 20 megapixel telephoto lens, the OnePlus 5's dual camera system can shoot pictures at a higher resolution than any other smartphone camera around. So even at a large size, images are clear and maintain quality, just in case you want to hang one above your couch. When it comes to software, the OnePlus 5 camera has a pro mode with professional level tools to give you more control over your photos. So what can you control exactly? You can decide how much light gets in by changing the ISO or adjust the white balance to remove unnatural color contrast. Using manual focus, you can highlight what's important and make sure every shot is crisp by adjusting the shutter speed. You'll also find the new histogram in the upper right corner of your screen, which helps you gauge the exposure level in a photo in order to correct the brightness level. And if you'd like to optimize your shots after the fact, you can shoot in RAW and shift things like color and exposure when you're editing later. All of these features and the hardware that powers them mean the OnePlus 5 dual camera probably isn't just the best camera you have on you, but the best camera you own, period. Thanks for having me, Carl. All right, I gotta go post some of these to my feed.
Thanks, Emily. Now, those are some amazing shots. We hope you enjoy this look at our new dual camera. The OnePlus 5 was designed with an eye for clarity. In between the powerful new hardware and software, and great new features like portrait mode, the OnePlus 5 is our best smartphone camera yet. But the best way to back up the OnePlus 5's tagline, dual camera, clearer photos, is by showing you some of the great shots taken on the OnePlus 5 by some of our photographer friends. Look at the amount of details in this photo. They're really, really clear. And check out this portrait. Check out the bokeh effect. This one was taken by me. Burgers on fleek. The worst thing that can happen when taking photos is running out of battery. Please join me in welcoming Kyle, our head of marketing, to tell you a little bit more about charging.
Hey, thanks, Carl. So let's talk about charging. Tell me if this has ever happened to you before. Busy day, have a lot to do, grab your phone to head out, take a look, low battery. Not ideal. At the same time, it doesn't necessarily make sense to charge your phone for 8 hours. You only need to charge it for 2. So how do you solve the problem? At OnePlus, we're always looking for technologies that improve the user experience in a meaningful way. To solve the problem of slow and inefficient charging, we developed Dash Charge. With most quick charging technologies, your phone can get hot, charging slows, and performance suffers. With Dash Charge, we move the power management away from the phone to the adapter. Your phone stays cool, charging remains consistent, even when you're using your phone while charging. Dash Charge isn't
Pop-up events. Come join us in one of these cities to get your hands on the OnePlus 5 even earlier. Be sure to check out oneplus.net for more information. I hope to see you there. For everyone else, the OnePlus 5 will be available officially starting June 27th. The OnePlus journey has been a huge passion project for all of our team members. It's been a crazy amount of work. We want to thank not only our team, but also their families for their support and understanding as we work to build the best products. Of course, we'd also like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who joined us today. We hope you're as pumped about the OnePlus 5 as we are. Thanks again, and never settle.